What's going on, everyone? Nick Gambaro here, Stefan Martinez. I feel like I've been kind of shuffling around my house, trying to give I like a different scenery, but I still want to keep it Christmas themed. So I'm back in my room. This is clearly a sports tree. I have another tree with other ornaments. Go ahead. I got my Islander one. I got my John Tavares ornament here, football, hockey, soccer lights. I got baseball lights. That's a picture of me in London with the FA Cup. That was years ago. So I got a bunch of sports stuff in my room.
When was that, by the way?
That was 2011, and then above it was when I was at Tottenham. You can't see it, but I was at Tottenham Stadium. But
Nice.
yeah, with the FA Cup at Wembley.
Nice.
First things first, and then we'll jump into football. Another birthday this week to another loyal watcher, viewer. Kathy, happy birthday. Hope you have a great one. James' birthday is Monday. Kathy's is today.
A lot of December birthdays.
A little bit. A little bit. But let's dive right into it. First of all, we got a great question of the day, question of the week, regarding should big cities like New York and LA have more than two teams in each sport? And then the top five, which credit to this guy over here, brought up the top five sports video games of all time. Although, again, it's going to be more about like subjective, like our favorites. But listen, if you guys got
they're yours, and Zach, Zach shared his on the show page.
I saw.
So we're gonna give Zach's because I think Zach is gonna be here to share his own.
FIFA number one.
He knows how to.
But at least they have FIFA on there, so I'll take it. Let's jump into a little foosball, and then Stefan actually has a couple of because we spoke about it earlier, very interesting stories in the NBA. Quickly on this we're not going to spend much time in it, but this Thursday night game, it's not that appealing, although the one thing you could say, two things. One, it's divisional, but another, it matters in the playoff race in terms of really Vegas, but also and the Ravens, because there are teams surrounding the Raiders that can get in or be out of the playoff picture depending on what the Raiders do these next few games. I think this game, I don't know. The Raiders are a weird team this year because I know me and you were really high on them in the very beginning and kind of the middle, right? And then after that, Atlanta lost. They haven't been the same. They almost lost to the Jets if the Jets weren't the Jets at the end and blew it. And the Chargers were competitive.
There were a couple other losses early in the year that I was like,
And they're now 4-9. What do you see from this game? I want your take. I'm curious.
Look, I think the Raiders lose. I think the Chargers light them up. I think Justin Herbert has a big game, and I think the Raiders lose by at least 2 touchdowns. The Raiders defensively are allergic to covering people. Henry Ruggs is on the COVID list. They're phenomenal rookie. So that's a problem because if you don't have an explosive wide receiver,
what's up, Skip,
to open up the football field, then that puts them even at a further disadvantage. And Jason Witten is not the Jason Witten of a couple years ago. So I personally think that you put Vegas put themselves behind the 8 ball. I really do. I think they essentially got to win out just to be able to have a shot at the playoffs and hope that other people lose as well. I think the Chargers present a unique set of challenges because, like I said, the Raiders don't cover anybody. They're 20th against the run and they're 22nd against the pass. They're terrible on defense.
Very. And, we spoke about it last show. Can John Gruden really coach in this day and age in the NFL?
Right.
I'm a big Gruden guy, but I think time has passed him. it was very different when he coached the Raiders and Bucks in the early 2000s to now. And now, Anthony Lynn is on the hot seat in LA. And now, if they fire him, who can be the coach there? So there's a lot of questions with the Chargers, but they do have a quarterback, which is a very important thing.
They do, which is why I think the job becomes appealing to a guy like an Eric Bieniemy or a guy looking for a job. That's the type of job that becomes appealing because you already got Justin Herbert there as your quarterback.
And that's a great point. Another young quarterback who could throw, who could run. So, I mean, that'd be a really successful duo if Bieniemy interviews with LA and eventually gets the job. And with Gruden,
and it's all set up for him over there. I mean, if you look at Anthony Lynn, they've played okay for Anthony Lynn, but they're a young football team. They're not as organized as they're going to be. And I think Eric Bieniemy,
defensive guy too.
Right. In this NFL, you need. I'm not saying that you need specialists, but you kind of need people that specialize in certain areas. Like your defensive guy got to be your defensive guy. Your offensive guy got to be your offensive guy. Head coach to me feels like a babysitter. If you can babysit a roster and kind of marry both together,
right?
Excuse me, then I think you have the perfect recipe to be a head coach.
Yes.
I don't necessarily believe that two are mutually exclusive. I think one has to do one thing while the other does the other thing. To me, that's what it feels like in the NFL these days.
I agree. 2 Saturday games. Which one? I mean, they're not.
By the way, let's pick some scores for this Raiders Chargers game. I got the Chargers winning 28-14. And I got Justin Herbert having a big night.
I got the Chargers 24-7 blowout.
Wow. You've criticized John Harbaugh for what, Zach? Excuse me. Exactly.
What's up, Zach?
How are you, man? I like that video game list. That was solid earlier. As Zach gets ready to get back to us. No, yeah, I agree with you. I think that game's going to be a blowout. I don't think the game is going to be as competitive as, we think for a divisional game. And Vegas seems to me like they're at the end of their rope. Yeah, you got the Jet win. You got the Jet win last week, but the Atlanta loss and a couple losses early in the year where they weren't into the football game. So I'm going Chargers 28-14.
Also, these 2 Saturday games, which one do you think would be more appealing? Bills, Broncos, or Panthers, Packers?
Neither.
Yeah, terrible games. I mean, they have implications, but really only for one team.
Not being an offensive or defensive specialist, just not even being. See, this is and Zach, I agree with you. I think for the most part, it's kind of difficult to see both sides. I think the biggest thing for John Harbaugh is he's very limited on both sides in the way he coaches. He doesn't have any specific thing that he does well. When you look at Eric Bieniemy, he's an offensive guy. Whoever his quarterback is, they're going to put up numbers. Now, having Patrick Mahomes makes life 1,000 times easier. We understand that. But I also think that he comes with a certain pedigree where I don't feel that with John Harbaugh. Maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong, Zach, because you're in the market. You see them way more than me and Big Dog do. But I don't know. I'm kind of, it's the way I see it. I don't know if you see it the same way, Big Dog. That he's kind of like he doesn't have one specific niche.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Wow,
Mm.
close game, Skip.
Nah, I don't think it's gonna be that close.
We'll
I'm
see.
dis-
It's possible.
I'm disrespecting the hell out of Vegas till they show me something.
Yeah, Vegas is just. I don't know. Just it's strange, strange team. Um, honestly, most of these games are garbage this week.
Other
Really,
than the Sunday night,
right? Yeah, I
and
mean,
even that got.
nah, but it's got hype. You know,
I mean, for me, because I'm trying to make the playoffs.
right? The Giants too are in a divisional race, so
Right.
it matters. I mean, you got Patriots, Dolphins, although I think Dolphins win that one. New
Yeah.
England hasn't been able to win in Miami.
Nah, I'm gonna tell you, I think New England wins because if you play in Tua, Bill Belichick loves young quarterbacks, so New
That's
England wins that
possible.
game.
Colts, Texans. If the Texans were better,
Nah,
that game would be intriguing. Seahawks, Washington. What do you make of that game? I'm giving my picks later, but I want your take first.
I
In these games.
Washington's gonna win out. I believe that. I don't believe they lose a game for the rest of the season. I believe they win out, and the reason why I believe they win out is because you look at Seattle. Seattle feels very vulnerable right now. Um,
Very.
the Eagles may give them a tough run at it because it's a divisional game. It's week 17. You got Jalen Hurts in there, so
That
they
could be
may
a
get a run.
Sunday night game, unless if you guys in Pittsburgh are tied for the division, then
Which
that's
that's wishful thinking. I'm hoping so, but it ain't happening.
yeah.
Just because I don't think that division is even up for grabs at this point. I think the loss Monday night kind of sealed their fate, whether they're going to win the division or not. And that Monday night loss is something I refuse to talk about. I'm not talking about it. Congratulations, Zach. They broke my heart. I refuse to talk about the Monday night loss.
But it's the game of the year. If you're a neutral fan, that was the game of the year. But we're not going to get into that anymore. I don't want to make this guy mad. It's supposed to be a fun show.
No, you're not making me mad.
No, I see the fumes coming out of the ears. I could see it in your face. That visceral hatred for Baltimore. So, I mean, it was hard. We were on FaceTime together watching you're like, babe, don't hang up. I need you with me. I'm dying over here.
Like,
I'm like, oh my, that.
Like, because that's not to be funny, but that's a way the Jets would lose. Like, that's the way.
I'm like, man, I know.
Like, hey, man, I ain't mad at it. Your man did his thing, man. But I was definitely screaming F Justin Tucker at the end of Monday night.
A little bit. Eagles Cardinals in Arizona. I think Jalen Hurts. I think he's going to be the next quarterback for Philly, man. I know you signed Wentz to that big contract, but I'm sorry. I mean, and we're not going to go through it all again because we've spoken on it about his comments post games and just his attitude in the locker room that we've heard reports on. Like, I just don't think he's the guy in Philly. And you take a look at what Hurts has done when he replaced him in that game a couple weeks ago. Then when he started last week
against the Saints, right?
He looked awesome.
See, I would have given that Saints-Chiefs game more buzz if there was Drew Brees.
Oh my!
If Drew Brees was playing, that would have been for me. That would have been the game of the weekend over Giants Browns.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that totally would. I mean,
none to be sorry about because I agree with you. Honestly, I don't think the Giants Browns game is that appealing, other than the bet I have with
your brothers.
Some relatives. Yeah, but other than that, it's not all that appealing. I just want to win the bet.
Yeah, Chiefs, and they're in the dome. No fans. Come on, that's like set up for Mahomes to just have a day.
40 burger.
Now, because you're a numbers guy, what do you think he's going to put up Sunday? Skip, what about you, Zach? What do you think?
I got him.
Mahomes'
I
numbers
got him.
going to be?
I got him plus 440.
Oh my! Well, damn.
about five touchdowns and a QBR of like 140.
Well, goddamn.
About
Blowout win.
nah. Saints keep it close. Saints keep it close.
And
they're working on. They say Drew Brees is out, but I guarantee you, behind the scenes, they're working on a rib brace to make. Because if he could get out there, he's gonna get out there.
And this may just be me kind of throwing something out there, but
yeah, kind of what I got.
You could say if I'm off base or not, it's okay. But do you think the NFL is kind of pushing the Saints, like, you get this, like, we want ratings for this game? I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there.
No, you're not wrong.
You think that could be, or am I thinking just too out there?
No, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if like the NFL's like nudging Saints, like, yo,
you get this guy
can we figure out some sort of apparatus to get him right? Because he kind of got to be out there. Because if not,
it really should have been a Super Bowl matchup a few years ago. Instead of that horrible Patriots-Rams Super Bowl, which was.
Here's the thing, and I know we're talking. Listen, folks, it's gonna be a long show, but it's gonna be a fun show. So just stay with us and give us your comments and join the party.
Yeah, we want more people to join, more people in Iraq.
Right?
We got a lot.
Join the party. Give us some comments. And tell the people we're live. Share the hell out of this thing.
Yeah.
Look, it wouldn't surprise me if the NFL is like, all right, we got to figure out a way to get them out there. Even if you got to figure out that rib cage, see what the rib cage is about, and if and they say, well, he's not going to get out there until he's 100%. At the end of the day, I respect that response. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think the NFL is going to do everything it can to capitalize on its investment to get him on the football field. Now, call me crazy and tell me that I'm being too business-minded, but that's how the NFL thinks.
I don't think you're wrong. Definitely.
That's how they think. And you could criticize me and say, oh, that's not necessarily fair. At the end of the day, folks, it's a business. And you know what this business consists of? Making crap loads of money.
A lot of quiche.
Exactly.
And now to preview the game of the week. Your Cleveland Browns against the New York Giants. Sunday night, this game was flexed in to be a Sunday night game. A lot riding for both of these teams.
Yeah, but I don't care about that. No.
How do you see this game playing out?
I told you this the other day. I can see the Browns losing the next 3 games, going 9-7, and completely missing the playoffs. I told you this the other day, and you're like, "Oh, don't think like that." I'm like, bro, I'm conditioned for failure. I'm conditioned that it's gonna fall apart before it even gets started. Now, if the Browns win on Sunday night, then you got a 95% chance to make the play. Definitely beating the Jets the Sunday after.
Yes.
And if by some miracle, Pittsburgh slips up, 2 more times, and you're tied at 12-4, and you got, you know what I mean? Like then we may have some conversations. But I see the Giants being tough, man, and I know Jason Garrett's out because of COVID. He's not calling the plays. Freddie Kitchens is calling the plays for the New York Football Giants, and their best corner, perhaps one of the best corners in the NFL, James Bradbury, is out due to COVID concerns. He is on the COVID list, and he is not expected to play on Sunday. That is a big loss for the New York Football Giants. Although I've said it before, no Daniel Jones, no Bradbury. They still scare me because they got weapons all over the place. Their defense flies around, and they're starting to develop a running game. So the New York Football Giants, I'm not taking lightly. I've said at the beginning of all of this, the Ravens didn't scare me as much as the Giants do, and that is still the case.
And we shall see. It's going to be an action-packed weekend. The Thursday night tonight, 2 Saturday games, all the Sunday games, and the Monday nighter, which we ain't going to get into because most likely Pittsburgh will win, should win. I don't know. If they don't win, then
let's go Bengals. I would. You know why I agree with him? I agree with him from this perspective. Pittsburgh doesn't run the football, bro. You don't run the football. I don't care how great Big Ben is. Big Ben is not mobile enough or strong enough at this point to run, to do what he used to do. Big Ben is now mortal, if that makes sense.
Right.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. He's older, and he's not like Brady or Breeze. Although Breeze ain't looking that great either, neither is Brady, but, it's he's not like...
Here's the other thing, too. It's not like, hold on a minute. No, wait a minute. I don't mean to cut in. We're gonna get back to the football in a second. The Houston Rockets expanded the trade talk for James Harden to now include the Boston Celtics. Is Patrick right now? I don't know if I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And the defense is they got a couple pieces out too. Bud Dupree, the main pass rusher, he tore his ACL in the game a couple weeks ago against was it Baltimore? I think he tore it against Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken.
Think so.
He tore up his knee. Yeah, he tore up his knee pretty good. It was like a Tuesday game, wasn't it? I believe so.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get to the James Harden stuff in a second, but the trade conversations expanded besides Brooklyn and Philly because they don't think that Brooklyn and Philly are gonna be able to get anything particularly done for them that they want. Defense may be in worse shape. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And Big Ben's not having the kind of year where he's throwing the football all over the field. Juju Smith-Schuster doesn't look like the same receiver. Chase Claypool is good, but I got to see more from him before I call him great. And Big Ben doesn't feel like he has the time to stand back there and just throw the rock 40, 50, 60 yards, especially when you don't run the football.
A lot of drop passes as well.
Right.
The past few games.
Right. And early in the year, they were very shorthanded, especially a big guy like Eric Ebron, which is why they brought him in for red zone purposes, bigger body, bigger target, and he's dropping a lot of passes. So that puts you in even a worse position, especially when you have to, rely on your passing game and you don't really run the football that well. And if James Conner's not 100%, they become very beatable. I know Cincinnati's bad. I get it, but if you're Cincinnati, all you want to do is hang around and make life interesting and see if you could sneak one out in the end. I don't think it happens, but the way Pittsburgh looks right now, Pittsburgh doesn't look that great.
Nah. But let's get into the NBA. I know you have a couple of stories, and especially one with James Harden. What do you got?
I got a few things. Let me start off by saying, so the trade deadline is officially March 25th. That is when the trade deadline is supposed to be consummated by the players committee and everybody involved. So that's when we're going to start to see what happens with the trade deadline and who moves, who goes where. And a lot of it is like pandemic based. So this is where it becomes interesting. I do think there's something interesting to be said about this James Harden thing. James Harden is one of the top 5 players in the NBA. I don't think it's egregious to argue this fact. He's one of the elite players and scorers that this league has seen possibly ever. But you hear the stories about how this dude is he's basically done what he wanted for 8 years. They scheduled the practice time around him. They stayed in different road cities because he wanted to party with his teammates and his boys. And then you hear now that he's in a club the other night in Atlanta with Lil Baby. Instead of reporting to training camp to start a new season with a new head coach and a new roster, which now includes John Wall. So I'm like, okay, let me see how this shakes out. So reportedly, he goes up to Houston. He goes up to friends of his and says, I don't care if they got John Wall. They still trading me because I'm not staying here. I'm getting the hell up out of here. Good. So I can't blame the Houston Rockets, and you're going to love Houston for this. Big Dog might actually get up and applaud. Houston's like, oh, hell no. We're not just trading you for dimes on a dollar. You're going to stay here, stuck in purgatory. We don't give a damn what you want. It's not about you. You're going to be here, and you're going to suffer the consequences of being selfish. Because everything that he wanted, they gave him. You wanted Chris Paul originally, we gave you Chris Paul. You wanted Chris Paul gone, we traded Chris Paul. You wanted Russell Westbrook, we gave you Russell Westbrook. This even goes back to Kevin McHale was the coach when James Harden first got to Houston.
Right.
He didn't want Kevin McHale anymore. They got rid of Kevin McHale. So everything that James Harden has wanted, they've given him. They've like, here, James, you can have it. You can have it. You can have it. It's like a kid. You keep feeding them candy, and then when you tell him no more candy, he's gonna throw a tantrum. And I'm like, you kind of saw this coming. You kind of already knew, like, James is gonna act up.
Sounds like it.
James is gonna act up, and here's the thing. James is very smart not to say the wrong thing. Well, James, why were you in Vegas? No, I was just out here partying with friends, or I was just this is what he said. I was training with my trainers in Vegas and Atlanta. Really, James? You're training in Vegas and Atlanta instead of training with the Houston Rockets? I'll buy that. Really? I'll play along. I'll play along. With training camp getting ready to open, you're flying to Vegas, then you're flying to Atlanta to party with rappers, and come on, grow up. And then you hear the stuff about, he wants to go to where he wants to go to. Like you say, he got a big pair. Not only does he want to be traded, but he gave them a list. Trade me to Brooklyn or Philly.
Wow.
Huh? And then this really blow your socks off. And you didn't watch the NBA. You know what the Rockets asked for? Ben Simmons and 3 first-round picks.
Wow.
Huh? What? Like, James Harden's great, but hell no. No. And everybody's thinking, oh, well, he has a relationship with Daryl Morey, who is the GM in Houston. You know how it works in sports. These guys develop relationship with with GMs, and then everybody's like, because now you're hearing it with Lou. Like, Lou Lamoriello, he developed, relationship with certain guys. So now they're like, will this guy end up in Long Island because they developed the relationship? I mean, it might work that way, but a lot of times.
Right. That's why Andy Green came to the island, because he knew him. He played under Lou in New Jersey. So Corey Schneider looks like he's going to be on the Islanders.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on now. Breaking news: the Sixers have included Ben Simmons in several packages for trade for James Harden.
They read your mind.
Hold on a minute. Let's read this from the Twitter machine. This is live as live can get, folks. You want live? This is live. From Sham Sharoni of The Athletic. The Philadelphia 76ers have made Ben Simmons available in some packages for Houston's James Harden, sources tell The Athletic. Okay? Now, Woj, the great Adrian Wojnarowski, okay, basically says basically confirms this and says, okay, the ESPN reporting Houston has increasingly expanded its trade discussions for James Harden beyond his preferred destinations of Brooklyn and Philadelphia. These destinations include Boston, New Orleans. Imagine James Harden, Zion Williamson together. New Orleans, Toronto, and the last one got me like, oh God, no. If James Harden ends up anywhere near the Boston Celtics, I will leave. I will leave. I will leave. I will leave now. Are you kidding? I'm going home. Listen, it's bad enough we got to speculate about him in Brooklyn and Philadelphia. If he actually ends up in the Atlantic Division, help me, Lord.
Imagine in Brooklyn. Uh-oh.
But here's the thing: if you're the Nets, though, right? Because you talk in the hockey sense, and we're gonna get to the hockey in a second. You talk about it in the hockey because I have some hockey trade news too. That's kind of
Yeah, we got a lot of hockey tonight.
What's your stopping point, Big Dog? Like when do you go? If you're the Nets, are you like nah, I'm out, or any team?
Most of the NBA seems like you need a three-headed monster to win a chip.
Yeah, but I'm not giving up.
Brooklyn, Kyrie is, don't like the media. He causes drama, and then KD don't like the media. There's always something with him. Now Harden is so it may not even work out if you have those three all at once.
Right. And here's the thing.
Remember the first-year coach like Steve Nash? That's something that deal with.
If you're the Nets, though, do you really want to give up the future assets for a guy that's 31 years old? Who you're gonna have to?
I don't know about that.
Who you're gonna have to give a contract extension to anyway after you trade for him?
Right. Now, if you were in a position to win a title, yeah, but
I mean, you are now.
You are, but the East, correct me if I'm wrong, it's still a tougher conference, right, than the West?
The East is tough because think about it. You got Toronto, Philly, Boston, Milwaukee, because Giannis just signed that monster extension, so he ain't going nowhere.
Nope.
Miami. Okay? Miami. People forget Miami made the finals last year. And they're the only team in the bubble to win 2 games against the Lakers with no Dragic and Bam Adebayo playing 3 games. Pat Riley, listen. Pat Riley, I say it with respect and fear and reverence. Pat Riley is one guy I don't want no smoke with. Nah, dog. Go that away. Go that away. It's like those hockey GMs like Lou Lamoriello and you know the old heads that you don't want to. I'm out. Go that way. I'm out. Because it's those dudes, they know how to make you like, dude, you're gonna do what I want you to do. You understand? Like, this is not about you. This is about me. And nah, I'm out. And then they're like, oh, what would James Harden look like in South Beach? I said, I got 2 words for you. Not great. Pat Riley ain't playing those games, though. Hell, Pat Riley ain't playing those games, dog. As soon as they check his body fat, they're going to deactivate him for 10 games just to make him run on a treadmill so he loses 20 pounds. Pat Riley don't play that. You going to Miami, you better be in shape.
Right.
Hell no. You see James Harden looking like he ate the whole Pillsbury Doughboy. He ate the whole thing. Your man, his guts out here. Yo, what happened, dog? Looking like you with the Buddha belly. Oh, man. And then real quick, the Giannis thing is fascinating because, you talk to different people around the league and you're like, willingness to the deal is nowhere close, but if they're looking to include Ben Simmons, I think James Harden's going to Philly. I don't know why. I just got that sick feeling that he's going to Philly. And honestly, the Giannis thing puts Philly in a position where Philly got to make a move
Yes.
because Milwaukee ain't. It's like hockey. It's like the arms race in hockey. Like Vegas for all the talk, they still gonna be good. Like Dallas, like all these Western Conference squad. Like you can't play around with that. I mean, nah.
Nope.
I'm out. And that's why if you're Philly, you kind of got to be like, AD and LeBron ain't going nowhere. They're gonna be a problem. Luka and whoever Dallas gets together, they ain't gonna be fun. And that's why if you're Philly, like you love Ben Simmons, but bruh, James Harden, Joel Embiid, you got to win right now, especially because Joel Embiid's feet. That's another thing, bro. Like Joel Embiid's injury history is crazy. Like feet, ankles, knees, back. I'm like, yeah, you got like a 3-year window, not even 3 years to win right now. Damn, the NBA is always filled with drama. I feel like this is a soap opera as the NBA turns. Previously, as the NBA turns.
A little bit there.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
What up, Ray?
You can do that trade in a heartbeat. I mean, but I don't know if I would. That's the thing. I don't know if I. And then you're gonna laugh at this. Big Dog might actually get up and walk away from his desk. There's some people surmising that the New York Knicks would be a good fit for James Harden because Jim Dolan wants a star. They have the cap space to absorb the money. The Knicks should look into doing it. And you know what I say to that? Hell no.
How do your brothers feel about that?
And just like, yo, I'd riot if James Harden came to Madison Square Garden. He'd riot. He'd literally be. You know how pissed my brother would be if James Harden was a Knick?
He wants every superstar that's out there.
I mean, he does. But every Knick fan does. But realistically, he doesn't. Like, this is my thing. Like, and I know this is going to come across as like Knick apologist, and I apologize for that. What's up, brother? How are you, man?
What up, Ray?
I apologize for being the Knick apologist, but I'll say this. The Knicks are only missing a point guard. Like, to me, it doesn't feel like James Harden fixes your problems.
You've been saying that for years. It's like the Jets and a quarterback.
Like watching the game yesterday, right? The fourth quarter, the Knicks make a comeback. Kevin Knox looks like a player, and I'm like, you know what happened? Emmanuel quickly made him look good. You know why? Because he played the point guard position, and he did it well. And for the first time, as like in 100 years, I'm like, oh my god. I know you were playing against the Cavs, like free agents and second-year players, and then these kids are they're going to be like the 20th man on the bench. Nobody's even going to know these kids in like 4 weeks. It's fine. But I'm like, damn, another Melo, thank you. Another Melo disaster, which I've said, trading for James Harden would be like trading for Carmelo Anthony with more tread on his tire. Like Melo, when he came from Denver, he didn't go, you know what I mean? Like he didn't have that much tread on his tires. His body was still in shape before he got pudgy towards the end because Lala was just feeding him all that good food. And
but the Knicks fans miss him dearly.
Hell yeah. Listen, I'll take old man River Melo and his 15 right now. Right now, I'll take that.
Yeah, you actually wanted to be here, local guy.
Oh, it hoits. It hoits.
You think they would retire his number or no?
They should.
Same with Jeff fans, right?
They should. But I don't think we appreciated what we had in Melo. That's the biggest problem. Like, we always looked at the shortcomings in his game, but Melo came here when nobody else wanted to. Melo's like, damn that, I'll go there. You know what I mean? Like nobody else wanted to Come here. So, I mean, at this point, James Harden with the net, hell no. Get that away from me, as far away from me as you can get it. Because listen, they're gonna win 21 games this year. But Tibbs is gonna get them to at least play hard. Well, you ain't gonna he ain't gonna accept you half-assing it, excuse the language, but you gotta play hard. And um nah, Melo still got game left. Melo still got game left. Hi, Packers are going to. Hey, Frank, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Interesting picks.
Are you from Wisconsin? I'm very curious. Now we got to get to know Frankie Bars. We give everybody nicknames on the show. Frank, are you from Wisconsin? We did not appreciate. See,
Did you appreciate it when he was here? Or you kind of took him for granted, you think?
me?
You personally.
I took him for granted because he was great. You know how New Yorkers are. Like, we get bored with stuff. Like, it's gonna sound crazy, but Giant fans took Eli for granted at the end. Yankee fans took Derek Jeter for granted at the end. Like, we all do it.
Yeah, so
you're from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Nice.
All right, very cool.
Your Packers to the Super Bowl pick is if I had more faith in your defense, your quarterback can definitely get you there. But your defense,
yeah, the defense is questionable, and the Bucks to the NBA Finals.
But I like Milwaukee. I like Milwaukee though. I do like the Milwaukee pick. I do think.
Very cool. Yeah, you got a rep.
Nah, I do like Milwaukee. The NBA Finals idea, especially if
they should be they should be a hockey team in Wisconsin.
What do you think about that, Frank?
A hockey team in Milwaukee.
Wow, we're getting Wisconsin love. Do me a favor, Frank. Follow the show on YouTube, and we'll shout you out, and we'll
the page.
We'll follow you back.
Wow, a little hot from Carmelo.
I mean, I don't know if I don't know if I would agree with the no heart. I would agree with the lack of talent that was put around him, because the 1 year he had talent, they went to the second round of the playoffs. I mean, you ain't gonna win with the talent they gave him. They gave him no talent. What talent did they give him? Amari with no knees? Nah, come on now.
That was when he punched the fire extinguisher thing, right?
Exactly. Hockey schmocky. Not a hockey fan?
I guess not.
He said LOL. Moving forward,
yeah.
Wow.
I've been wanting to move the Panthers for years.
I even want to move the Panthers, and I don't even watch that much hockey.
The Panthers and Hurricanes, move them out. Move one to Cleveland and move one to Milwaukee. There you go.
Imagine that.
Come on. Think about the idea of having an outdoor game at Lambeau Field, like a Winter Classic. So them versus Chicago or St. Louis.
An outdoor game at the Dog Pound for the Cleveland.
Yeah, at the Browns Stadium. Oh my God. The rivalries you create, that'd be awesome.
Yes. No, man, we appreciate the Wisconsin love though, because listen, I still think, and I respect Giannis so much for staying in Milwaukee, because everybody's like, oh, he did it for the money. Listen, if somebody's throwing me $228 million in guaranteed money, I think I stay too. And Giannis, see, this is the thing with Giannis, because I listened to a documentary about him, and he's loyal because the dude came from nothing. So he wasn't just going to leave the Bucks for greener pastures. And look, he got his money. And here's the thing. If Giannis wins a championship in Milwaukee, do you know what that would do for the league?
Right.
That the league would go bananas if Giannis won a championship in Milwaukee. The league would, I know, big city people would enjoy it, like Clipper fans and Laker fans, and I'm not even going to include.
Have a team like Milwaukee win it. Right. It's always the same teams in the NBA.
Look at how crazy Cleveland went when LeBron brought a chip back to Cleveland.
Right. Those smaller cities, only one teams in each sport, which we're going to get to that later.
Right.
But, yeah, Milwaukee would definitely appreciate it.
Definitely. So that's why I'm glad he stayed. And I'm glad he said, you know what? The bigger market's cool, but I'd like to stay somewhere where I know I can develop and build something. This is true. You're right. Because there's a lot of protected stuff going on. It's look, I'm an NBA fan. I just wish it was a little bit harder to win a championship. I wish it was harder to win a championship. I wish it wasn't the same teams in the finals every single year, which is why I'm a fan of baseball, which is why Big Dog loves hockey. Like, there's different teams in the finals every year.
More parity, it's harder to win.
A chip with him leaving would be already right. It's the same thing that we've said about Durant, because when Durant went to Golden State, nobody respected KD for winning the chips in Golden State.
Nope.
And this guy who don't even watch the NBA is like, yo, fam, Kevin Durant got to wear that. He got to wear that. Because that's not what sports is. Sports is you compete to win championships. You don't just try and hop on the bandwagon to get one. So
right.
Speaking of hockey, speaking of news, speaking of all this stuff, let's do it, man. We got a smorgasbord of hockey information. We'll talk more about Frankie's Packers if we got some time.
We got a little soccer. We also have our list and the question of the week. We still got a lot.
Right.
So settle in.
What do you got for us on the hockey front now? I did send you something earlier that I thought was fascinating that I wanted your take on. What do you think about all that?
I just think we should start with this news first. Round of applause to Oscar Lindblom, the Flyers forward, who is cancer-free a little more than 1 year after he was diagnosed with a rare form of bone cancer. So, Oscar, shouts out to you. Happy to hear that you're cancer-free. That's awesome news. Great player. He did play a little bit in the bubble in the Flyers Islanders series, so he got back on the ice, which, I mean, was amazing in itself. Mm-hmm. So that's awesome. So happy to hear that. Great news.
Yes.
And unfortunate news, and then we'll get to your story you sent me. But unfortunately, Henrik Lundqvist will miss the upcoming season due to a heart condition. Henrik, we hope you get better, man. You got to take care of your health first. That's really scary. And he's in his 30s, so it's still really young to have a serious heart condition. So we hope he gets better. And will he play again? Not sure. I guess it will all depend on what his doctors tell him. And
right.
Oh, I mean, gotta go both. I mean, the Islanders look great in Belmont. I'm super ecstatic, Travis. I know you're a diehard Islander fan too. You gotta be pumped. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting on the island. That's for sure.
I was even getting into them during the playoffs because I was excited. I'm like, this is good stuff right here. I'm not the biggest hockey fan, but playoff hockey, that's a different beast, man.
Even in the bubble, like it was just the games were so intense. Still, it was awesome.
Right.
And we'll go to this story. Let me ask you: do you think Henrik will come back, or you think he won't? You think he'll retire?
Can I be honest with you? I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't come back, just because you don't know what the adverse effects could be if he does. Yeah, Barclay Center.
I don't think it will. They've done so much research and planning for this. It's going to be amazing.
And I've been to a hockey game, but I've been to a net game at the Barclays. I don't like the Barclays Center. Barclays Center doesn't feel
like it's a nice arena, but it's not for hockey. It's terrible.
No, but even for the Nets, I'm like, eh, you know, there's no juice in there. I don't feel the vibe in there when I walk.
You don't. It's although the playoff game when Tavares scored that double OT winner, it was absolute mayhem. That
I
was
mean, well, yeah. If you don't get mental for that, then we got to revoke your sports card.
So you think this is too much of a risk for Lundqvist to come back?
I mean, I would think so, just because it's a heart injury. It's not something that. There you go.
I
Case in
heard
point.
very sad news.
Like it's heart conditions are no joke, man. That stuff is no joke. And for him to have the strength and the courage to walk away. Now he's at the end of his career anyway, so he probably had a couple years left, but that sucks. Like that's the type of stuff that breaks your heart. You know what I mean? Because whether you root for the Rangers or not, at the end of the day, he's a human being, and he was great. He was great when he was in net. You hated him, but even you have to like tip the cap and go, you know what?
Hated him as a Ranger, but I'd be the first to say he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and the Rangers definitely will retire his number. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, look at his. Look at what he did for them. So absolutely,
bro. He tied some of Mike Richter's records. I mean, the guy is he's revered in Madison Square. He's like the Rangers equivalent to Patrick Ewing.
Right.
It's almost like what that's like.
Hockey has decided, not officially, but they want to start between January 13th to 16th, somewhere around there. But they're really aiming for January 13th, right?
Like, yeah, I would retire just because. Listen, you don't know.
You got nothing to prove.
Exactly.
And, I mean, with Washington, they have a new young goalie coming in. He really wouldn't get that much playing time anyway, so I just didn't see the point. I mean, I get he wants to go to a cup-ready team, but even Washington, yes, they are a contender, but you saw the way they played last year. I mean,
they're getting older, though.
They're getting older. They finally won a cup. All that emotion that poured into it. Like you see, I mean, I guess it's a bad comparison, but look at the Cubs in baseball. Now,
right.
I
was even going to make a much smoother comparison. Look at the Nationals. Nationals won a chip, but the
City, right?
Rendon left because he got more money from the Angels. Strasburg is older. Scherzer is older. You got a lot of money tied up into pitching. It's so I think, and the Cubs are a great comparison. Thank you, Big Dog. It's hard when you love something as much as he loved it, because I don't know if I could have walked away. I mean, you say, yeah, he should retire, but I don't know if we're in his shoes if we walk away as easily.
I'm sure it's difficult.
Especially because he's probably been doing this his whole life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn. Like, the one thing I really know that I can be great at, not that he's not a great parent, and he doesn't have other things that fulfill him, but as a competitor, it's hard to say, I'm gonna walk away.
That's his sport, and that's what he's been playing, like you said, his whole life.
Right.
Since coming from Sweden, and playing at the highest level in the NHL, so.
Right.
Really quick, there was a tweet this morning. As the NHL and NHLPA continue their discussions, there remains hope from both sides they can finalize terms today or tomorrow and begin the voting process amongst the NHL Board of Governors and NHLPA Executive Committee. As of now, there is no Board of Governors meeting, so there wasn't one today. That was from David Pagnotta, editor-in-chief of the Fourth Period Hockey magazine. So they're still working on stuff, but there's a lot to be done. And Stefan sent me a little while before the show started a very interesting article from Chris Johnston, who's an awesome reporter for Sportsnet up in Canada. And they may have have to, depending on what the Canadian government says and what the health officials up there say, or advise, like the Raptors are playing in Tampa, they may have all 7 Canadian teams play in the United States. So no hockey would be played in Canada at all, whether it's a hub or two or any of the arenas up in Canada, which is interesting. I really like the whole Canadian division idea. I think to start the season, they could have a hub or two and then eventually shift into playing in each arena divisionally, because let's face it, you said it, most people are reporting it, you can't do a hub for an entire season. You can maybe play with it for a little while, but you're going to have to allow players to go to their back to their homes, because that. And I am like, the hub really worked, and I love that idea. But I get why they wouldn't want to do it again. It is hard on the players.
Yeah, because you can't you're really isolating the players from their families, from their loved ones, from everything that they're used to for a full year. That's hard to do.
For a whole season, that's hard.
Right, and you only did it because the playoffs are right there. Teams knew they were getting in. It's the same thing with the NBA. So you kind of got it. There's a give and take. Now, would I like it to be like regional pods where where the travel's not as expansive and you can procure the I don't mind that. Hey,
they should.
I wonder if teams like the Hartford, the minor league teams in all these different cities offer up their arenas, since you can't have fans in there. Do they offer up their arenas so that these teams can play in their arenas?
That's very possible. I've heard some of the hubs could be Newark, Columbus, Glendale in Arizona.
Right.
Forget the other one. Those are just some ideas that they're throwing around, and I understand why. Those 3 teams specifically don't have an NBA team that play in that arena. So that's why, I mean, they could even use the Coliseum if they wanted. I'm trying to think of other arenas.
Hey, yeah.
A lot of these NHL teams share with an NBA team, so it's tricky. Like San Jose could be one, but the only problem is, the lockdown restrictions in California. And so
yeah, they were even talking about putting a team in Oracle Arena where the Warriors used to play, because it's still standing. However, since you can't play in that specific region, that's going to be hard.
Correct, right. Like the 49ers moved to Arizona for a couple of games. The Sharks are practicing in Arizona. They're not in San Jose. So I think that's the way to go about it for the NHL. I think start off in a hub if you can, and then drift off into playing in your own arenas at some point. And pick those. Vegas is, yes, thank you, Travis. That was the other one they were thinking of, was T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. And again, Vegas doesn't have an NBA team, so that could work. But again, it also matters on the COVID cases and how many there are in each of these regions and cities. So there's still a lot that they have to plan. But hopefully this gets done, because they really need to get it done. If they want to start January 13th, it's got to be done this week.
Yeah, this is the type of thing that these negotiations, you can't have a snag. You can't have.
I'd love to visit Vegas, to go to a hockey game. Yeah, I believe they can.
Yeah, I think they can. And they realize the economic problems that would persist if they didn't pull this off. Like, the NHL is one of the leagues, rare few, that if you don't play, you're going to have legitimate issues fielding a full league.
100%.
Arizona can't afford to take any more hits. Florida, the 2 Florida teams, whether it be Tampa or whether it be the Panthers, they can't afford to take these crazy hits. So that's why I can see where the NHL is like, hold up, let's try and make sure we get something ironed out so we don't lose any more money than we're already losing.
And an interesting discussion. I was watching a Hockey Central earlier today, and they were talking about should NHL teams have sponsors on their helmets and or jerseys this season. Just for this season, I know a lot of people don't like it or think it'll look – listen, if it could help the league or teams make money and profit for this season, I think why not? Pick sponsors that, match the uniforms. You could put it on a helmet even if you don't want to put it on the jersey. I understand.
The NBA is doing it. The NBA is doing it.
Like, to me, I don't think it's a huge deal.
That's because they're doing it smart.
They did it smart, right? In the hubs, they picked Canada, which had and still has a lot less cases than the United States does. So they did get it right, and I believe they will get it right again.
And they're not rushing back into this, where I feel like the other leagues have rushed back into this somewhat. Like the NBA, they want to play, so they're kind of like, we got to make sure our television partners see us trying to get a season off.
I really like the way hockey's like. Yes, as a fan, I'm like, all right, when is this going to get done? Are they going to? But I'm like, realistically, like, you know what? They take their time. They take their time. I'd rather them be safe than sorry.
Yeah, right.
So.
And that's because the entire league, they're consulting with everyone, not only just medical professionals, but people in the league, teams, team physicians, players themselves. Like, everybody's involved in this from a grassroots level. So that's why it's working.
And let me ask you, and Travis and everyone watching, how do you guys feel about the spot? Like, Travis, I know you're a soccer guy too, like me. Like me, I really don't care about the sponsorship. It doesn't really bother me if it was on a jersey or a helmet. If I had to choose, I'd probably rather it on the helmet than the jersey. But people like, oh my God, that looked terrible. I don't want that. This isn't soccer. I mean, listen, for this, if you had to do it just for one season, suck it up.
No, not only for one season, but if it makes the league more money,
right,
and it grows the overall health of the league, you don't think the NHL and the NHLPA be like, hold up, that means more money in my pocket? Sign me up.
Right.
At the end of the day, I say it all the time, and you get pissed at me for saying this, but it's true. It's a business. So anything that brings in more money, more revenue is exactly what they're going to do. I know it looks unconventional because we're not used to seeing sponsorships on jerseys, but it does feel like what do we have to lose? We're not making all that much money anyway.
If anything.
Right.
So it doesn't look the way you like, well, then don't buy a jersey then if they're going to sell it with that sponsor on it.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
100%. Yep.
Because at the end of the day, these players, I won't buy it. Come on, bro. If you saw your favorite team's jersey, even all the sponsors on it, if you love the guy enough, you'll buy it.
I'd buy an Islander jersey with whatever sponsor
Come on, man. I mean, even the Yankees, I think, would do it because the Yankees are one of the teams that lost the most money. So I think
they would do it.
I think you'd be a fool not to do it.
The Dodgers, the Cubs, all the big markets.
I think everybody should at least figure out.
That's going to be something we see in all sports. What do you think? Eventually, that sponsors will be on jerseys or helmets.
I agree. You know why? Because it means more money, which means more revenue. So even for the Yankees who are playing, the uniform is what it is, they'll let a sponsor in there somewhere to make them more money? Hell no. They'll make more money. No doubt about it, they'll make more money. And if you're going to tell me different, then you crazy.
Absolutely. But yeah, so hopefully hockey gets started soon. I've been following it, so we'll see what happens. You did have a couple of questions for me, though. You said
I'm
hockey-based questions. Then we'll go to the
I-
soccer.
I'm curious about some things because
Okay.
I've been like, at what point do you start to realize when it gets real, when things get real, when the season gets going? When do you start looking at trade possibilities, or are you looking at them already and the season hasn't started yet?
You could. I mean, Vegas has already started. Look at Vegas; they're already thinking about shopping some of their best players. Now, Fleury, we know with that drama with the agent putting out the picture of him being stabbed in the back. So clearly, there's some drama there in Vegas with Fleury. But the odd thing to me is trading away um, Max Pacioretty, um,
That's the interesting one.
Jonathan
That
Marchessault.
those two are interesting. The Pacioretty and the Marchessault, because
Two of their best players.
and you paid a hefty price to get them both.
Right.
So I'm like, would you trade them right away after paying such a heavy price to get them both? That's kind of crazy. And here's the other thing. Like, and I know we're not talking about roster construction, excuse me, or anything like that yet. But
Yeah, they're still trying to figure that out. They're probably going to have
Mhm.
expanded rosters.
I would too. Now, here's the thing. Toronto has already talked about, we're giving this another 2 years because they don't want to take the pandemic season and make an irrational decision and hurt their chances down the road. But I think a team like the Maple Leafs, you have to seriously question what their plans are, what they plan to do.
I think you have to start looking at it, especially with the state everyone's in economically, plus just
Right.
the season in general. You got to look, how can we improve, or can this team we have now win, or what can I get back for this player? So
Right.
there's a lot to go into, and Toronto is a great example because there's still a lot of question marks with this team.
And they're up against the salary cap wise. They're
Big
one of
time.
they're one of the teams that they're if they're not at the threshold, they're like hovering just under it. So you kind of have to give yourself an out and go, how do we reset ourselves and get ourselves to a point where we can get closer to winning a championship than we are now.
Absolutely. Yeah, because they have Marner, Tavares' contract, Matthews.
Which I think about trading for the right. I think about trading Tavares for the right price.
I can't see them doing it.
I mean, you know why I would? Because he's the older guy, and he's the guy that if he wants to win right now, he'd be the guy that I would trade because his contract probably doesn't allow you to move much further, even if you wanted to.
Right. I don't know. I hope not for his sake, although, I mean, if he did have an opportunity to win a cup, I wouldn't be mad at it because he deserves to win. It would have been cool for him to win in Toronto. Matthew, oh my God, that would never happen. But I'd weep. Him and Barzal on a line. Oh my God. Yeah, Matthews.
Listen, you're gonna have this guy.
So is Barzal.
Trav, you're gonna have this guy fantasizing about this the whole night now. What are you doing there, man? What are you doing to him? He's gonna be dreaming about it.
Imagine Matthews or Patty Kane with Matty Balls.
Oh my lord!
Woo! Oh my God!
Now I'm hearing rumblings. Patrick Kane possibly being traded.
Lou might have to make that call.
I'm hearing the St. Louis Blues.
No.
St. Louis Blues.
Their biggest rival?
Because they want Jordan Bennington as part of the package going to Chicago.
Wow. I don't think that could happen, but
I don't think it would happen, but I think you got to investigate it. I know. Patrick Kane in Philly.
Ooh. I mean, I would hate that being my division, but him with Philly, that would be wow. Him and Joe.
Patrick Kane to Boston?
Wow. Well, they would be in our division this year. That wouldn't be good. And him with Marchand, Bergeron, and Pasta? Are you kidding me?
Go home here.
With Tuca in net. And you help.
Can you say, oh.
I mean.
Ball. Ball.
I mean, no words. I got nothing to say about that.
Just ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ball.
I just can't wait till we have actual hockey to talk about and preview.
Oh, yeah.
I'm anxious for it. But let's dive into the soccer quickly. Tottenham with two first.
All right, let me set this up before he goes off. Because I knew this was a big game, so I didn't bother him. I didn't text him. I didn't call him. I let him be. You know, you got to let things ferment. It's like a bottle of wine. You don't want to bother it too early or the wine don't come out gooch. So you let him sit. You're hoping it goes well for him because you know he's invested. And he texted me. They gave up a late goal in the final minutes. I'm like, where have I watched this movie before? Where have I watched this movie before?
You everywhere you go.
I'm like, literally, damn, bro.
Every team you root for.
They find a way to break you. I'm like, damn, bro. The Jets been doing it to you for 100 years. The Islanders been doing it to you 80 years before that.
At least heartbreak.
Can this guy catch a break? I mean, God Almighty, man.
And now Tottenham.
Oh,
for the love of God. I mean, well, there's a couple of things. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but look, the way Tottenham has been playing, put it to you like this, and I don't know who you can compare it to, but Jose Mourinho plays a style of let's just park the bus is like a soccer term. Basically, just stay back, play defense for as long as you can. Once you get a turnover, then you attack. And that's been working for Tottenham. And this month, which has been big because we beat Man City, we drew Chelsea, had a really tough result against Crystal Palace the other day, giving up a late goal to tie. And then yesterday, Liverpool. And Young-min Son scored a great goal yesterday. He's been on fire. So is Harry Kane.
The only comp I can make in a football sense would probably be Baltimore because Baltimore like to sit back, create turnovers. They don't like to. They're not going to score. I mean, they're going to score because they got Lamar, but
right.
they're built on their defense though,
and it's been working. But my question is like how I think it could last long. But the goal
you have concerns is what you're about to say.
The goal they gave up late though. Like Roberto Firmino, who's one of their best players, wide open in the penalty box for a header. I mean, I'm crediting him. It was a great header. Beautiful setup, but you got on a corner kick, on any set piece, you have to have every guy marked and covered, especially him. You can't leave him wide open like that. And Steven Bergwijn had a couple of big chances. And here's the thing that was interesting. So the two coach press conferences, they're very interesting personalities, Klopp and Mourinho. In the high school, they, are you still working at Lowell, Travis? I remember they had, when I was on the soccer team, they had a picture of me. And I actually have it, too, framed in my room, like I'm chasing after the ball. Very good at it.
We got to see this thing. Come on now. You can't see the picture.
I'm reminiscing my high school soccer days. Leave me alone.
Show the picture. I want to see it. We want to see it.
It's hung up on my wall. I can't.
Oh,
Um,
listen, you got to take a picture of this picture, and you got to put it on the show page.
all right, give me 1 minute.
People want to see. Look, the viewership's going up because they want to see this picture.
Hold on. Gotta be careful here. So there's
Look at that thing.
chasing after the ball. Hold on. There we go.
Look at that in action. Look at this.
Awesome,
Yes,
Travis.
wow, that's a good start. Arab big dog. Yeah, K.
And one game that year, I scored the game-winning goal on a free kick. Oh, my God. I'll never forget that. Oh.
He was good back on. No, I'm not. No, I agree.
No, he agrees.
No, I'm not. Listen, I'm not. I know he was good. I'm not questioning nothing.
I
Listen,
was
when they
pretty
got
good back then.
when they got you teaching the sport.
You too, Zach. Stay safe, brother.
Yeah, man. And Jay.
Yes.
No, when you went, this kid got some skills. I'm not. I have no questions or concerns on his skill level.
So Jose Mourinho goes, quote, the bet. I told Jurgen Klopp because they had that the best team lost. Now I'm like, okay, you did. It's because, again, I'm a fan, but you kind of gotta. You had chances, but you didn't take it. You played most of the game in your own half, took the shot. Listen to these stats. Possession, Liverpool, 76%. 76. Tottenham, 24%. And that's fine. I mean, Tottenham, that's the way they play. They, cool. You play with the ball, possess it, pass it around, do whatever you got to do. But the shots, bro. And a Joe B there, bro. 17 shots, 11 of them on goal for Liverpool. You know how many wide open shots we gave up? Then Tottenham, 8 shots, only 2 of them on goal. That's it.
Wait. That's for the entire game?
Yeah, and he said the best team lost, meaning that Tottenham was better, and then even though they lost.
Wait, huh?
And Jurgen Klopp was asked about it and then said, oh, we really don't need to get into what we said. Like, it wasn't an argument, which it wasn't, but Jose Mourinho, he likes to stir the pot. So.
I mean, you shouldn't be stirring nothing but teaching your team how to get it on the damn net.
And one of the goals, one of them just missed the far corner, didn't even hit the bar or the post. Then the second shot hit wide open and on goal, hit off the post and out. And I'm like, oh.
And those are the only 2 shots for the game.
Well, the one that hit off the post and the goal. And that was it. That were on goal.
I'm sorry, I can't do that. If it's me, I'm attacking. I'm attacking. And the reason why I'm attacking is because one thing about soccer, early goals, then playing back gets points. I mean, you and Big Dog could
play in your own half for too long. That's the way I feel about it. Same thing in hockey. When you play in your own end for that long and teams get shots, that's what I felt like, honestly, a hockey game. Liverpool that's a lot of shots. 11 on goal for a soccer game. That's a lot.
Damn, the goalie was under siege.
Maurice played awesome. He made huge saves. He kept us in the game, but unfortunately couldn't win it. And I'm sorry, I used to love Jurgen Klopp, but since I became a Tottenham fan and starting to be more invested, the whole celebrating and the whole over everything, I can't stand it. I'm like, all right, that got on my nerve. They had 2,000 fans at Anfield yesterday, and he was like fist pumping and like getting the crowd up, and I'm like,
Dead mother.
a little bit. One more thing in soccer, and this was a story I read, and I'm not going to read it or anything, but just what I think on it. There was this article on ESPN about would Juventus swap or Man U swap Paul Pogba for Cristiano Ronaldo, which, by the way, Ronaldo played for Man United way back when. That I thought was a really intriguing article that I read. I mean, the only thing really, though, it's hard in this economic climate we're in, plus just swapping, and now Ronaldo is older than Pogba. I mean, I think you would rather have Ronaldo than Pogba right now because Pogba does not seem dedicated to Man U. He said it publicly many times, like he's like, I enjoy playing with France because that's his national team. That, you know, they respect me there, they care about me, they don't take me for granted, and then he cringes and cries about Man U. He don't enjoy it. He don't this, and they don't like me, and all this other stuff. So then there was that article of could they swap one player for the other? Yeah. Oh, you played both offense and defense, Travis? I mostly was a forward. I used to play defense a little bit, not in high school, but with another team. I played goalie a few times, indoors. Yo, you want to talk about scary? Oh my God. First of all, the intensity of indoor soccer alone is, I mean, it's great. Like, you get it's 5-on-5 on like a tiny field. And the way they had it set up, it was like a hockey rink. You had the glass, you had boards, so you could kick the ball off the boards and pass it to yourself. Like, it was really cool. You might get hit in the boards. It was crazy. But getting those shots, like, at a very, very, very close range, part of me loved it. I was crazy and like, oh man, getting to save shots. But another times, I don't need to play goalie today, coach. I'm all right. I mean, I was more of a backup. Like, one guy would play the first half, and then I'd play the second half.
Yeah, I can see you now. Big Nose like, yo, I'm out.
Now, I would rather play a goalie in soccer than hockey any day, but nah, I'm good. Yeah, give me, I'll play defense. I'll play midfield, but I like playing forward. I love to score, but even setting up, I loved assisting on goals. So, yeah, I miss playing soccer, man. Missed it a lot. I did try a couple of years ago, but that league didn't really work out. Yeah, a little bit. Let's get into the last couple of things for the show. Oh, first off, my picks really quick for football because we got your picks earlier. My picks, the 5 games, I got the Dolphins over New England, Washington over Seattle, Eagles over Cardinals, Chiefs over Saints, and this was hard to pick but since Freddie Kitchens is calling plays for the Giants, I'm going with your Cleveland Browns, and especially too because I think you guys are going to come into the game pissed as hell that you guys lost the way you did last week. So I think the Browns are going to win that one for you. Going to be a heart attack for sure. It's going to be a close one, but I got your Cleveland Browns over the New York Giants. Now, top 5 list, and then we'll end the show with the question of the week. But you came up with the idea for the top 5 today, so I will give you your first crack at it. Your top 5 for your favorite or the best sports video games of all time. Top 5. Go.
Top 5 sports.
Browns.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you. I'm gonna go with Madden. The very first Madden I played, which was Madden 04 with Michael Vick on the cover.
04.
I'm going the first SmackDown game that ever came out for the PS2,
Wow. I feel
Remember that?
yeah.
Um,
Damn, what are you doing? Making us feel old here.
I'm gonna go with MLB 2K6. Because remember, it was the one you said with Derek Jeter on the cover. But do you remember John Miller and Joe Morgan were doing a play-by-play for that video game?
Yes, and I didn't like that Jeter was on the cover, so what did I do?
He
Took
chugged
the
it.
paper out of the sleeve,
He chugged it.
ripped it up, and tossed it in the garbage. So,
Oh, God.
hated Derek Jeter.
Fight night, um, Fight night round 4. No, Fight night round 3, which came out like 2010. And finally, I'm gonna go with MLB The Show, the whole franchise.
Yeah, you play that religiously. You're talking to me sometimes 11 at night.
I have sneakers older than you
Wow.
too.
That's a very good list. No NHL. You've been getting into hockey lately, and then no love for hockey.
Oh, all right. I gotta take the fight
No,
night out.
I'm kidding. It's your list.
FIFA gotta go in there. So fight night gotta go for FIFA.
I must say though, our NHL games are epic.
Oh,
My God, they're like 5 or 6 goal games. Then I'll usually score like a weird goal deflection and like with 10 seconds left.
And I got 4 people on his back, and he still gets it in the net. I'm like, yo, what is this? But we always like have fun with each other, like because we play,
great.
we listen to music, we talk, it's fun when we play. But I'm like, yo, this guy always ends up. Oh, I remember one time he scored on me. Remember this? He scored on me. The thing goes off the crossbar. I'm like, all right, I got to stop, and all you see was the light. I'm like, I was pissed. I was like, are you kidding me? I lose like this? Like this? This is garbage.
But it's fun though.
Oh yeah, that's me. But here's the thing: there's no batteries in there. The thing is, you put batteries in there, it's gonna beep even more because water got in it and there's a short in there. So we actually have to get it fixed. That's me, Travis.
For a while, that thing. But thank you for the heads up, Travis.
Appreciate it.
My top 5. I'm not going a specific year. I'm just going game franchise.
Right.
I'm going MLB The Show 5. Number 4, Pro Evolution Soccer. Number 3 is Madden. Number 2 is FIFA. And then number 1 is NHL.
Oh, I like that list. Yeah, it's typical big dog list.
I mean,
but Zach had a good list. Remember the NFL Streets video game?
Yes, I thought of that.
NFL Streets, NBA Streets.
Fun back in the day.
Remember Slugfest, the baseball game where you could play as like different characters and you could play as like 8. And you could actually fight like it was like a hockey game. You could punch the pitcher in the face.
That's what baseball needs, more hitting and punching. But
well, it's a family show. What's wrong with you animal? Jesus.
Oh, yeah, Blades of Steel.
God,
I didn't remember that was way back in the day. But that's a classic.
Look at this animal. There's a family show. What's wrong with you, animal? Encouraging violence.
I'd love to see some brawls every now and then, as long as it don't involve your team.
I mean, yeah.
You're going to lose the fight, so it's,
Oh, you trash talking son of a decade. All right. I see that.
Um,
I see that.
last thing before we get on out of here. Question of the week, Stefan.
Right.
Blood is good. Not all the time, but a good fight every now and then's good. Good hockey fight, a good baseball fight.
That's a good one, Trev. That's
It
a good
was.
one. That's a good one. Blood is good.
Should big cities like New York and LA have more than 2 teams in each sport? Do you want me to go first, or do you like to have a crack at it?
Yeah, big dog. Go ahead, because I'm curious on what you think.
Part of me feels mostly, you know, for me, it's good to have, I think, more than one team because it gives you options.
I was just gonna say the same thing, right?
And especially for the teams I root for, because if there were only 4 teams in one team in each, there would be no Jets, Mets, and Islanders. So,
You'd be screwed.
right. So 2 teams is definitely good. But now, just speaking in general, I think there are negatives to it. One, and I think you would agree, but people tend to flip-flop more and bandwagon to who's ever winning at the time.
Right, that pro, I'm pro LA, or I'm pro New York.
Right, no
Man,
loyalty.
you gotta choose. If you're gonna suffer, you gotta suffer with one or the other.
Right, and that too. Like, I'm a New York fan. I'm an LA fan.
What the hell?
You cannot be a Jet and a Giant. You can't be a Met and a Yankee fan. And for the love of God, you cannot be an Islander and a Ranger fan. That should not exist. Should not.
First of all, that's like saying I root for Duke and Carolina.
Yeah, no. One, because it's the biggest rivalry in New York, and they're in the same division. So you can't root for both of them. Sorry. You can't be an Islander and a Ranger fan. And the same with LA. Like, you can't say, oh, I'm a Dodger and Angel fan, or I'm a Ducks and a Kings fan. They have a pretty big rivalry. Not as big as Kings Sharks, but Ducks Kings is big. So, and even with soccer there, you can't be an LAFC and a Galaxy fan. Like, that doesn't work. Like, doesn't that annoy? I know one of your uncles is like a pro New York guy.
That pisses me off. I'm like, then you'll never.
Like, you can't. No,
You'll never experience losing. You'll always have it easy.
Right.
What is that? You gotta suffer like the rest of us. You're not any different. Suffering is what we do as sports fans. That's what makes it beautiful.
And also, too, I do feel like the city as a whole, if they only had one team in each sport, and that's any city, like Boston, Philly,
right.
You just see the passion come out and how it brings everybody, the whole city together, and people seem more diehard about their teams. Now, not to say that New York and LA doesn't have diehard fans, but the majority of people, too, don't, it's not as passionate, I think, as other. Like, for me, and I want to ask you this question, and Travis and whoever else is watching, what do you think the most passionate sports city is in the country? Because in my opinion, it's Philly. But that's just my opinion.
Like, I'm going to be honest. I agree with you. I agree with you. For example, like, look at Philly. Philly's down hard. There's no 2 teams in Philly. You got one of each. You ain't got no choice. You love us or you love us, because you can't hate us, because you're the only one you got. Look at Jesus, what's the other city I'm thinking of? Boston. Like, you got it, Bruins, Celtics, Red Sox.
And the
you ain't getting 90.
and I'm sorry, but why the White Sox? And like, now it does give people an option in baseball, but the Cubs are just so big.
Yeah, it's
But it is better to have multiple teams just so people can choose and identify with their own team, instead of just everyone gravitating towards one.
I've heard that expression before. I don't want to even know what it means. Oh man, but if that's how it feels, then
No, but look, overall, two teams in a city, especially bigger cities, you gotta
it
have.
gives you options, but it also hurts you a little bit.
Yeah, there's like a
But
pro
then
and con to it.
you don't get no real fandom. Like you got Yankee fans that are rooting for the Mets in the World Series. I'm like, bro, you was just a Yankee fan yesterday, fam. What
Or
you doing?
Net fans or Net fans going to
Right,
like it's weird.
right, nah.
Islanders and Ranger, that to me, I can't. I'm like, yo, you gotta get your fan card revoked. Gotta go.
And then you see people, oh, I live in Carolina, so I like both teams. No, you can't like both. You love those. Oh, I can't even.
North Carolina Tar Heels or Duke.
Them or my beloved Blue Devils. You can't like the Tar Heelians and then like my Duke Blue Devils. That's sacrilegious. That's like Mr. Chow going to both schools. Yeah, let's go to both schools. Nah, dog. Out. LA has
Only
one,
two. Rams
two,
and
yeah,
Chargers.
he said sorry wrong. Yeah.
All good.
We forgive you, Trav. It's all good. Anyway, thank you for watching the show. This was great. We went a little longer than usual. This was awesome.
Thank you for commenting and watching, everybody.
Thank you. And we'll be back Monday night to break down all the games in the NFL. Maybe, I don't know, maybe another list.
We are planning Wednesday, a special Wednesday show, the 23rd.
Yes.
And that we will do a list, the top 5 Christmas movies of all time. So,
and yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
It's not that I love Die Hard. Amazing.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Can you stop with this? Can you stop?
Peace out, Travis.
Listen, we'll keep arguing. We'll keep arguing next Wednesday. But Die Hard's a Christmas movie. You can't change my mind.
But all good.
Anyway, back and better than ever. Monday, 6 Eastern. Tune in.